Hello, everybody, from me and Riley, of course, who's already cuddled up and ready for her bedtime story. I hope you all have had a fantastic week. Oh, here she comes. You come to say hello to everybody? Huh? I hope you all have had a fantastic week, and I hope you have an even better weekend. I know. Oh, hello. Riley and I have really enjoyed being able to get outside a little bit extra this week, and we're going to go see a very special friend of Riley's this weekend. We're going to go up and see my sister, and so that was why I picked the story that I have for you all tonight. We're going to go see Peyton. Do you want to go see Peyton? Peyton is Riley's cousin, and she loves playing with Peyton. And we're going to go see Izzy. Izzy is Riley's other cousin, and that was what made me pick this story. Because Izzy and Rylee sometimes don't always get along. And I know that, like, when my sister and I were younger, we didn't always get along either. And now we're best friends. But I want you to see this story. This story is called The Squirrels Who Squabbled. Squabbled is another word for like arguing or not getting along or fighting. And sometimes that happens when you have brothers or sisters, right? Or in Riley's case, other cousin dogs. And so I want you to see how these squirrels solve this problem. So this story is called The Squirrels Who Squabbled, and it's by Rachel Bright and Jim Field. So here we go. Squirrels Who Squabbled. In a towering forest where summer had been, the leaves turned to gold as a cold wind blew in. And as autumn arrived with a sky raging red, the sleepiest creatures got ready for bed. While up in a tree swung a flighty young squirrel who everyone knew as Spontaneous Sorrel. There you can see all the really pretty pictures, or the really pretty colored trees, the mountains, and there's Spontaneous Sorrel swinging up in his tree. Those colors make me think that it must be fall. All the leaves are beginning to change. Now, most foresty folk had seen to their needs through the plentiful months of mushrooms and seeds. They'd build up their stores so they'd all be well fed through the frosting of winter glittering ahead. But Sorrel, he lived in the now and the here. He'd adventured and partied his way through the year. So his cupboard was empty, his hollow was bare. He hadn't a mouthful of food anywhere. So all the other animals had gotten lots of food to be ready for the winter. But not Sorrel. But wait, what was that? Over there, take a look. A single lone pine cone wedged in a nook. He squealed with delight, and for very good reason, for inside were the very last nuts of the season. There's the pine cone stuck over here in the tree. But Sorrel wasn't alone. There were more hungry eyes. Yes, Plan-Ahead Bruce had his sights on the prize. Though he'd gathered fresh treasures of every sort, Bruce was convinced he was one pine cone short. I simply must have it, he wistfully cried, as he dreamt of the fresh, juicy pine nuts inside. So there's Bruce and his big pile of food, but he still thinks he needs that last pine cone. So as Sorrel set off on his way to the ground, Bruce, he was also last pine cone bound. They sprinted and scurried with no time to gamble. They scratched at the bark in their scampering scramble. But their panic and haste shook the tips of the spruce, and the pine cone, it trembled, and then it came loose. There they go. They're racing up the tree to go get the pine cone. but they were arguing over it and it fell. Both squirrels gave chase at lightning pace. This was the start of a wild, nutty race. "It's mine!" shouted Cyril. "No, mine!" hollered Bruce. "You don't stand a chance. Give it up. It's no use." "I'm hungry!" cried Cyril. "This cone is not yours." "Stay back!" shouted Bruce. "This cone's for my stores." There they go. You can see they're chasing the pine cone down the hill and through the woods. It boinged over bushes and flew through the air. It binged on the nose of a slumbering bear. It bounced over boulders and then came to a... Let's see where it went. Stop. Then teetered and wobbled and quivered and... Uh-oh. Yikes. Plop! Both squirrels followed. Oh, the water was so fast. Would they learn that they needed each other at last? But each was intent on how he could win, so they didn't quite notice a bird swooping in. There the pine cone dropped into the water, so they dove in to go get it. Cyril and Bruce, they watched in dismay as their cone disappeared up, and away. "Come back!" shouted Cyril. "There are nuts!" exclaimed Bruce. But all hope was gone. It was simply no use. And meanwhile they drifted right up to the ledge. Greed. It was driving them. Over the edge. Look at that. They weren't paying attention and they fell right over a waterfall. Cyril and Bruce, they had taken a fall. They were paying the price for wanting it all. They'd squandered their chances to team up and share. Would their nutty young hopes simply end in despair? Bruised and bedraggled, they swept past dry land. Cyril grabbed at a branch with a trembling hand. Catching Bruce with the other, he huffed and he heaved and pulled him to safety with panting and peeves. They dragged themselves up with sputtering wiggles. Then Bruce looked at Cyril, and good news, they were able to save each other here. Look at them working together. They saved each other. They exploded in giggles. "How silly we are," he managed to mutter. "How greedy I've been," he proclaimed with a splutter. "We shall change from today. May the squabbling cease. We should celebrate, seeing that we're both still in one piece." And from that day and forward, they made a great pair. They would gather together and found that they could share. Yes, Cyril and Bruce, they knew in the end. Look at all the food they're sharing with their friends. They look so much happier. The best thing to share is a laugh with your friend. The end. I love this story because both of those squirrels were so good. Woo! Rylee scared me there. They were so greedy at first, right? But then they learned that it was much better to share in the end. Rylee, hey. Sorry, boys and girls. Rylee got scared. She must have had a bad dream. We'll see you all tomorrow. Have a great night.